Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. In this video, we're looking at the NBA Finals Game 3 picks. The Bucks looking to avoid going down 3-0. At least they're back at home in Milwaukee, where they played very well this year. They are currently heavily favored to win this game. Guys like Holiday, guys like Middleton, who struggle with their shot in Phoenix. Hopefully, some of those guys can start to hit some shots at home in front of their home crowd. But let's get right into the pick. So, as always, appreciate if you guys hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. We saw Giannis put up a monster of a game, 72 fantasy points, a lot of that coming in the second half. He was able to just get to the paint at will. Still struggled a little bit with his free throws, but that's as to be expected. 11 of 18 is not a terrible day for Giannis at the line. He's going to get you a couple of defensive stats. Had a couple of nice blocks against the Suns last game. He's just going to have to play big minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays like 42, 43 minutes, gets a couple of rests here and there. But we saw him, this is only second game back after his knee injury. Played 40 game, or this is his third game back. He played 40 minutes in his second game back. And they might need him to play like 43, 44 today. Devin Booker caught fire in the second half, shooting from 3, 7 of 12. The Suns, they just able to stay in the game early just by knocking down threes. They had I don't know what it was, but the first quarter seemed like all they were doing was hitting threes. Probably had like 7 or 8 threes in the first quarter, and 8 of their 9 or 10 field goals were threes. But Booker's going to continue to play big minutes, 42, 44 out of him. He gets you a bunch of points. The rebounds, assists, they fluctuate just based on the kind of games Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton have in those categories. I still like Chris Paul more than Devin Booker just because he's cheaper, and just with the peripherals that Chris Paul gets with the assists, has the ball in his hands a bunch. I still expect Chris Paul to have a chance to outscore Booker a lot of nights, unless Booker just gets hot from 3 like he did last game. And then Chris Middleton is down to 96 in the utility spot. He has to get hot shooting the ball. I'm expecting them to look to him aggressively early. We saw Holiday become aggressive last game to start the game. It didn't really work out, so maybe they go to Chris Middleton to kind of be aggressive early, look for a shot, get hot early, and then continue that throughout the game. So Middleton, he's also a guy that gets you good assists and good rebounds, even with Holiday out there. Has the ball in his hands at times. Him and Holiday can play some off ball too. So Middleton's is a guy that I don't mind paying for at 96. He's $1,000 cheaper than Booker. I expect the Bucks to win this game, so I'm kind of leaning a little bit heavily on the Bucks side a little bit more. And then Ayton is 9K. I'd rather just get up to some of these guys like Chris Paul, Chris Middleton instead of Ayton today. Holiday's cheaper. Even though he's been awful with his shot, he still gets you some defensive stats, still gets you assists, still gets you rebounds, so his floor is still somewhat high. I prefer Middleton a little bit more today, but I don't mind going Holiday if you wanted to. And then Bridges is up to $7,200 coming off of his just career high scoring and 27 points. I don't want to go back to him. I think he might be popular. Some people chased out. The price tag is now up. Now he's going into Milwaukee. We see some of these young role players struggle at times on the road, especially in these big moments. So I won't be going to Mikal Bridges today at that price tag. I'd rather take a shot on a veteran like Jay Crowder, who we saw shoot the ball well, get you a bunch of rebounds last game. The rebounds should be there again, and hopefully can hit some shots. So at $6,000 for Crowder, he's probably one of my favorite role players on the Suns to target, especially with the increase in price for Bridges. And then Cam Johnson is still viable, but he's 46 now. And then we saw Cameron Payne. His price tag has also jumped. He's now 48 after he was just 38. So it's tough to get to some of those guys. I think Crowder is probably one of my favorites just for the role players on the Suns. And then on the Bucks side, Connaughton is still nicely priced at 38. He would kind of be my favorite role player on the Bucks just because he gets a bunch of minutes. We saw him close last game. Tucker, he's a guy that doesn't get you a ton of fantasy points. He got 14 and a quarter, or 14 and 3/4, half. Most of those came in the first quarter. I think 12 came in the first quarter, and they did nothing the rest of the game. But that's the kind of experience you'll get out of Tucker. Some games he has 20 fantasy points. Other games he's going to get you 14, 15. And then we see Torrey Craig is probable, so that takes Nader out of the mix. That Kaminsky didn't even. He's not going to get minutes even without Sarge. He only played half a minute, so don't look to play him. Only guy you could maybe look to was Teague, but just because he sees 10, 12 minutes, that's going to be 10, 12 minutes more than Kaminsky, more than Nader. And that's it for the players to kind of focus on. So looking at some builds here, I like going Giannis at captain if you can. If not, if you wanted to save some money, you can go Chris Middleton at captain. For me, it's Giannis, Chris Middleton, or Chris Paul at my captain spots. I like Chris Middleton right now. I'm going to be going Chris Paul, my favorite player, to run it back with on the Phoenix side. Still love Giannis today. I mean, it's tough not to play Giannis. I think you got to be a bit crazy to fade Giannis in Milwaukee in a must-win game 3, essentially. And then I think you can go with Jay Crowder as a bit of a balance here. Gets Paul, Crowder, two starters on the Bucks side. Middleton, Giannis going to have to carry the team offensively. Maybe they get some boost from Holiday, but Holiday's been struggling with his shot big time. Same thing with Middleton, but we've seen Middleton at least get hot at times. He's at least had a decent game 1 in terms of shooting, where he shot 5 of 12 from 3. Holiday's just been struggling the first 2 games. And then you still have 4K left. You can plug in like a Connaughton, plug in a Tucker, maybe go with Cam Johnson, go with like Forbes if you wanted to. But I like these 4 to start your lineup with. And that's it for the DraftKings side. Let's jump over to FanDuel. All right, FanDuel, they have Chris Paul priced more expensive than Booker, which I kind of agree with. Then we have Giannis as your most expensive player. No surprise on FanDuel where you don't pay more for your MVP spot. It just makes sense to go with Giannis. I like Chris Middleton, Chris Paul. Throw in those guys. You're left with $77.50. We'll see what we can do. We have some cheap guys to plug in here. You have Tucker. You have Connaughton. That might be somewhat popular of a build. Maybe going Middleton over Chris Paul here in the star and the pro position kind of makes you a little bit more unique. And then you can maybe look to like Forbes at 65 or Teague at 65. But for on FanDuel, at least, the best value plays are Connaughton and Tucker. You can, like, Crowder is 10K, Bridges 95, 9,085 for Cam Johnson. It's a little bit tougher to get to those guys, so I'd rather just go with the Bucks guys. You can make that work pretty easily. But that is about it for the video. Thank you for watching. Best of luck today, and I'll see you all next time.